Ew. It's a very unique name, so I trust no one will have issues finding it. Shut up. I've had people call me Dylan before. Cute.
I'm an idiot. I didn't close app. I closed parody. Whoops.
What a boomer moment.
Hey, I had to swap fucking between things. Like, what's it quiet in here?
Oh,
It dawned on
also,
me.
when everyone pulls up the stream, please mute the stream. I will not be able to talk if I can hear
Yeah,
myself echoing at the same
I
time.
just heard Reffy's voice in the stream.
Yeah. Please, everyone, mute their streams. You only need to listen to my voice. You know, nothing else matters.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought this was a perfect view of what Flames is doing right now.
Big C.
And obviously there's going to be like probably like a 10-second-ish delay, but I'll typically like stop it when I'm chatting about things and whatever. So let me know if you guys have questions or you want me to go back and show you something or whatever. Other than that, I'm just going to yap the whole time.
Okay, I am ready whenever anybody else is.
I'm ready whenever.
Don't you dare. Shut your fucking mouth, Jarl. I will kick you. I will. How many people do we have in the party?
7, 6,
Okay.
including out you.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on what, 2 people then? Who's not here? Yeah, who's not in? Speak up, I know it's 2 of you.
I'm in.
Oh, maybe it doesn't show everyone?
Yeah. Is that right?
Is that everyone? I guess. Yeah, I think it
I'm
just
in the
doesn't
chat.
maybe show if people are on PlayStation while they're watching or something. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Okay, let's get started. Let me pull up my notes. Oh my god, I know. Yeah, we're literally about to watch that happen. Okay, so we'll talk about a couple of different concepts here. Like, I'm not gonna go into like any nitpicky stuff, right? About like individual mistakes too much. That's what individual VODs are for. So if you want that kind of attention, get with me. Otherwise, again, we're just gonna focus on like some team-oriented stuff. Right now, as you guys know, we've been working on comms, and we're going to keep doing that, during scrims and all of that. And then we'll start like working in like these concepts here and there, and then practice those as well. Most of the stuff that I've seen you guys struggle with so far in the couple of codes that I've watched is map control, right, and tempo, and then also just like your general decision making as far as like comps go, pathing, you know, all the normal things. So we'll just kind of talk about stuff as it happens. So we do get the pick on Queen here, of course, which I'm very, very happy with. Again, I know I said I'm not going to focus on individual stuff very much, but Rappy, I'm going to look at you for a second because I think this is important. So we drop, right, and we instantly amp out of spawn. Right? This is before you guys, I'm assuming, like, even really noticed the Queen or the rest of them. You don't want to amp here, right? Even if, like, I mean, if they're here, there's no reason to amp because they're right here. Otherwise, like, if you guys are going, you know, your goal, right, is to go to choke and amp through choke, right, to kind of make something happen. So you're just not going to have that cooldown. And the reason why it's important now is, like, once you guys get this, sorry, someone say something? I couldn't tell. Okay, no. Once you guys get that pick on Queen, what you want to do, right, is amp onto the rest of their team and clean up, right? You're gonna go fast, fast, fast. You guys get in there, and then you just fuck these people. Then they would have like a much harder time. Yeah, exactly. They'd have a much harder time getting away from y'all. So we needed the amp here. That's a small thing, but it'll matter. Something else I want to notice is, like, I want to comment on, like, target priority. That's another thing that I think can be worked on, and we will work on it as time goes on. I watched some of y'all's perspectives. We definitely see the BAP right here, you know, the BAP and the Junker here. I'm assuming some of us saw the Sojourn go top. I know that, like, on our walk up, I know that we saw this Mercy, like, kind of head right, and none of us saw her fly back. So we should all know, hey, this Mercy's over here. She's literally like sitting inside of Jay right now, and no one's looking at her. It really bothers me. Target priority, like, it has to be the supports. I understand that Mercy's not always the easiest to kill, right? So I'm definitely not saying, like, always, always, always chase down the Mercy. But when she's stuck like this, and she's a free target, you guys should be jumping on her. There's a lot of times where y'all have, like, opportunities for free picks or opportunities to take space for free, right? And by that I mean, like, with very little cost to your own, like, cooldowns, your own health pulls, all of that. Like, you guys just have that, right? So this Mercy should die. She just should. She manages to get back to her team. And again, we notice here, like, while we were pushing up and we're chasing whoever, I'm assuming the Junk, BAP, like, walks in this room, right? And just, like, walks up behind us and starts shooting us. We end up cleaning up this point anyway, but we have to clear these paths. This is what happens against Brawl a lot, and some of us talked about this recently. Like, Brawl struggles when they're attacked from different angles, right? Because you can't block everywhere at once. You know, you're typically playing, like, closer range heroes. So any sort of, like, flanking and off angles and all of that it really hurts Brawl. So, like, leaving people in your backline, especially when they're really close, right? It's one thing when, like, you guys are already, like, if you're all, like, forward at the time, right? And then someone's, like, flanking, you're like, okay, I'm not going to bother with, like, the Tracer back there. We're just going to go forward. But, like, you guys were about here when the BAP went left. That's instantly, like, I don't care who says it. Like, you know, if it's the Lucio, if it's the main tank, if anyone sees it and is like, hey, there's a BAP there, we should just collectively jump on that person, right? Like, I know we've been talking about calling targets a bit lately, and we'll talk about a little bit more because y'all's target priority definitely needs some work and how to do that. But you guys gotta, like, take free picks, right? So anyway, we jump on Junk. And we end up killing the supports last. So this could actually work in our favor. Like, we've staggered a lot of these kills, and this is going to be really important going into second. So thinking about, like, hybrid maps, right? Like this one, Hollywood, right? Like, you know, all of the hybrid maps that, you know, like, they have, like, whatever, like, first and third's always, you know, whatever. But then, like, the second point is typically, like, really weird high grounds, right? And they're always a pain in the ass to push. Like, Eichenwald, if you get stalled out on second, can be kind of hard, right? Gibraltar, well, that's an escort, but, you know, Gibraltar, like, the high ground's really oppressive, right, on second especially. It's easy to get stalled out there. Hollywood, you know, you take first, and then they have like a really strong presence on high ground on second, and it's such a pain in the ass to push, right? And the way that you get around that is staggering kills. If you guys are aggressive and you play to your advantage in this moment, you will not struggle with second points anymore, and you'll roll into third. But you guys have to you have to not be pussies, and you have to go for it. Right? So I'm gonna, I will show you exactly what happened here. It's really sad. So we kill these supports, right? Those supports are still spawning. Sojourn's about to spawn. So you notice, like, if you look at their spawn right now, Rom's already here. Rom is already setting up, like, right here, right? I'm assuming that's Sojourn back there. Oh, yeah, and then Junk is still spawning. I think Junk manages to get the spawn too, yeah. So both of their DPS just spawned, right? They're in the back. Their supports are still spawning, mind you. We just took payload. Their supports are still spawning, and they're gonna spawn in that way back one, right? And you guys just stand here. This breaks my heart. It really does. Like, we're all standing on cart. You don't need all three on cart to push. You just don't. Especially as Brawl, right? This is true for any comp. But on second point on these maps, whoever takes space first, whoever takes the free space, takes the high ground, controls these really important areas, will win this point, period. Right now, if you have Lucio, Ryan, and probably, I don't know, it doesn't matter, like McCree, May, honestly anyone, right? You could leave a DPS on point if you want your Ana to come up with you. You could leave Ana on point and then send up 4. You only need one person on point right now. The rest of you should be taking space. Literally, if you come out here and you would see this Ryan or this Rom, right? Like, if you are still taking point, I get that sometimes you want to have more on point, right? So you can take it, so you take it faster, especially if you know that they're coming back. You guys should, it's kind of like an awareness thing, right? Like, it depends on the situation. So that's why I kind of want you just start thinking about it and being able to think about it critically. Because if, you would wipe them all at the same time, right? And they're all coming back from spawn at the exact same time, then yeah, obviously you don't want to all get off cart if they're going to have time to touch, right? But if you guys are already on point and, yeah, maybe, 2 or 3 of them are spawning, but also they're coming, but 2 of them we just killed, there's no way they're going to come back, especially the supports. That should tell you guys that there's no way they're going to touch. And even if you're worried, right? Even if you're oh, maybe they'll try to recontest, you should already have someone out here, whether it's your Rhine, right? Your Rhine can stand here or something. You should already at least have one person out when you're taking point, to sit here and be okay, are they actually going to try to recontest? Oh no, I don't really see anyone, I guess not. And then that okay, well, let's just push up. Let's go start doing stuff. We'll leave that one person on point. So if you'd done that, right, and Rom was still standing here at the time, then y'all just fuck him, right? This Rom was pushed up for no fucking reason. He had no supports with him. He had no DPS with him at the time. If you send, again, Ryan, Lucio, your DPS, or DPS and an Ana, whoever the fuck you send, that Rom's dead. All of a sudden, now their Rom's staggered, right? Now their Rom has to go to that far back spawn room, and now he's staggered. They don't have their tank. Now it's a lot easier for you guys to push. Maybe you catch out some of their DPS because they're oh, we gotta go help our Rom, and then you catch the DPS, and now the supports are oh, we're by ourselves. What do we do? Do we go in? And then it's just a whole big thing, and all of a sudden you've rolled into halfway down second, right? Because they're busy respawning, and now you don't have to really fuck with the high ground, right? Now you don't have to mess with that shit. You're already pressuring the end of point, and they're focused on getting you guys, right? So it's so sad. This breaks my heart. You guys are just standing in this little door. Junk's setting up, right? Not Junk spamming, and you can see how long it's taken them to get from point. Sojourn went all the way back to get Mercy for some reason. So they're all wandering up here. They just now took high ground. Rom's still down there. This Rom is so free. Rom is still down there. Look at him. He's by himself. His team's not set up. This really makes me sad. So that's the biggest issue with the second that I've seen you guys do, right? Well, up until that point, of course. I think you guys would have had a free second point if y'all had played that well. So you have to be able to be aggressive when you can, right? Like it's an awareness thing, like we talked about, like understanding respawns, and obviously like you guys don't have the sight that I have right now, right? Like you can't see for sure, you know, like where they are on the map, but you guys should know, like, okay, we killed these two last, and the other ones have already spawned. You know, you have that option, right, with like the big rectangle button. You can literally tell when they respawn. So even if you don't like have it timed out in your head, like you guys have the resources to be able to make a good decision there, and then you have to actually push. That's it. Okay, so then we make this decision. I don't like this one either. Kind of talking about pathing a little bit, right? So we give them time to set up on high ground, which really sucks. And then we decide to go into the castle, which I don't like when they're on high ground and we're against a junk, right? I know that we have the Rhine and the Frog and we have the May, and they like to play a little close range, but junk fucks you guys, especially when you're in a castle, like when you're in this castle, when you're in small, you know, closed rooms. Junk just dominates in here, right? And then obviously, like we see now, like Sojourn's coming behind with Mercy. She ended up just eating Flames' ass as he as he tried to catch up. Yeah. I mean, I think you would have died even if you were on cart, because like they just kind of dropped behind us. But now, what would I do instead? I mean, what I would have done was push initially, right? So you guys don't have to deal with this. At this point, though, I wouldn't go inside castle. I don't think. Sojourn's scary, yeah, on high ground, and you don't want to ignore her. And I will typically say that you guys should try to address high ground, right? Try to push them out of these angles. But you don't need to go. You can't go through castle like this. It's really easy for them, again, to just like they just spam down as you're walking up these stairs, and again, like exactly what the Sojourn's doing now. Like then they just come in behind you as you're already up, and they just start spamming every which way. Also, if you are gonna come through castle for whatever reason, even if it's against spam, your Rhine cannot be up here. He just can't. You cannot be this far back. I know Jay's not here, but I'm just gonna say it. I don't remember if Rappy dies here, but it sure is looking like he's gonna, you know, like we're not like helping our squishies get in. Like if you're gonna go a scary route, you have to help your squishies. You guys have to move as a cohesive unit with the shield, right? This is part of my issue, like watching. I'll back this up actually. Like whenever I was watching you guys stand at choke here, did we already walk in? Where the fuck are we? No. Okay, yeah. Watching you guys stand at choke here, like this is kind of an individual thing, right? This is for my Raiden players out there. If you're not going anywhere with shield, right? Like I watched Jay stand in this little doorway for like 7+ seconds initially, just with shield like looking, which, you know, if you're gonna do that a little just to scout and then like drop it and then get ready to push, it's whatever. But like, you know, we're holding it here and we're not actively moving, and then we come to like about where he is now, right? And we're just sitting here with shield up, but we're not really like doing anything. Like if you guys are not moving forward or you're not retreating, you're just wasting your resources like that. Because when you actually need to push, when you actually need to like aggress onto them or like rotate or whatever, now you suddenly don't have shield because, you know, you sat there for 15, 10 seconds, whatever, and let them burst it, and then you thought, oh, I should go somewhere, and you know, now you can't protect anyone. So that's an issue. Yeah, now we don't have shield in there, and I assume maybe that's part of why this happened, right? That Jay was like, oh, I don't have shield, I gotta do something, and so we went forward, and I still don't really have shield, so I'm not thinking about helping my team. Or maybe it's just like a blatant disregard for your squishies. I don't know which is which, since I can't ask him right now. But as a tank player, you guys have to take you have to take care of your squishies. You just do. That also means that squishies need to not be so far behind, right? Like Flames, if you are gonna go with them when we're gonna get off cart, which I don't necessarily think is like an amazing idea, because we should be pushing cart here. I mean, in a perfect world, we've already taken space, and then you can just sit on cart and like, you know, with your thumb up your ass, and you can just chill, right? But like if you are gonna go with them, right, that's fine, but you have to go with them, right? Whenever you guys, yeah. 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 Yeah, like that's kind of my issue here, right? Because the Sojourn comes behind, and if you were on cart right now, like you would die, right? Now, I mean, it might mean that like if you're sitting here and Sojourn comes over with Mercy, I mean, that's still like you pulling two people away from the rest of the fight, and then maybe we just win that if we actually aggress on people, and you just kind of like, you know, have to try to survive. You know, even if you like end up backing up, right, to kind of run, like it still pulls them away from their team. So that could be viable, because like right now, whatever we're doing up here doesn't matter because we're not pushing cart. And I will say that like it is more important to win the fight outright than always move cart. I will say that. So you know, you don't have to like don't fuck your team, of course, by you know having like one or two people in cart and then not helping each other. But yeah, Rappy miraculously doesn't die, which is great. So we're still not pushing cart. I'm assuming that Flames is going to come back and, you know, do that, because why not? But yeah, we're sitting up here. We don't have Ana. And then we drop. We also didn't drop together. Again, I can't hear your comms. I don't know what comms were like. Jarl dropped first, I assume, because Jarl got low. And you were scared. Especially when you don't have your Ana with you. I mean, the drop was very, very disorganized, right? Again, if you guys are playing Brawl, you're moving as a unit, right? Brawl is deceptively simple, right? It's a very simple comp. It's easy, you know, to kind of get into, right? It's just like, oh, go forward and swing on things, right? We just speed onto them and ruin them. But, you know, it's really easy to fuck up too. Like, if you guys aren't playing together, if you're not managing your cooldowns well, if you're not actually, like, speeding onto people, then it's just useless. We'll talk about that more, for sure. Fortunately, our Ana gets back, and now we're down here. Poor Flames. But you see, like, okay, so we have Rein on point now. We have Jarl there. Bear's hiding in a stairwell over here, scared for his life. And we see Rappy, like, I'm gonna fuck up this BAP. Which, again, I don't have a problem since we don't have a lot of high ground control that you're taking that initiative, Rappy. I like that. I see you do it a couple of times. I like that you try to, like, push them out of high ground and pressure them. But again, look at our team. We're playing Brawl, right? And I just said we're gonna play together. No one is together. No one is helping each other right now. You guys are so easy to pick off. It's crazy. Especially, like, I mean, if they're playing dive, like, y'all just die, right? Fortunately, Jarl's carrying you, but you can't expect Jarl to carry you all the time. I'm going to say that a lot. I think Jarl's a very good player. I've played with him for a while, and I do think that some of these fights, like Jarl or whoever, you know, I know you play with Dylan a lot, like, they're going to pop off, and it's great, but you can't rely on it. You just can't. You can't rely on, like, Jarl to, like, hit his shots all the time, right? Yeah. Like, you'll have to have good team play. I want to look at... Hang on, real quick. What's the shield at? Yeah, did it? Yeah, it was... Yeah, like, Jay just walks forward with shield a lot and doesn't always let it recharge, so now we don't have shield when they ult. Like... Yeah. I mean, just as a Rein player, as a frontline, you don't want your shield to die here, right? Because you have no options here, you know? Like, you don't want your Brawl to stall out here because you have no cover, you have nothing to play around, you're certainly not going to speed onto them from where you are here, right? So you're just kind of a sitting duck and you're using shield and other things for no reason. So whatever, if they've backed up this much, either, you know, again, you have like one or two, like, push cart, or at that point, you know, like, you guys can come this way and, like, pressure them, you know, as they're walking out of these rooms even. Or again, you just kind of, like, play a little slow and you play with cart and use that as cover. But, like, right now we're having to we had to use nano and nade to keep Jay up because the shield just broke in the middle of fucking nowhere. So now we don't have nade, right? Like, if that Ramen ulted, just then, you know, if he hadn't over-aggressed, that's a really good wall, by the way, Bear. That really helped, I think, kill the ROM, so it was great. And then Sojourn, I think, like, slid into the blizzard, which is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, if that ROM had ulted, right, you know, he got kind of low, he got scared, he was in a bad spot, and he was like, fuck it, you know, my panic win button. We need that ante, right? We have to ante him to kill him there. Or, you know, blizzard him. But we don't have that cooldown anymore. So, I mean, with tank and just in general, like, you guys want to be taking as little damage as you can until you're in the middle of the fight, so you have all of the cooldowns, you know, you need available to you. Yeah. Yeah, you died. You were sitting on cart, I think. Which, okay, and I will say this, Flames, I think what happened was you were literally on cart about here, in the middle of, like, bridge. I know it's a little behind. And at that point, like, if your Rhine's on cart or, like, you know, like, your front line's on cart, like, it's close enough to the end, right? This is kind of like a weird thing for Ana, because I know that a lot of times they'll put, like, Ana or whoever on cart initially, right? While the team pushes up, which is fine. But once... Yes. Once it gets, you know, like it's starting to like get closer to like the point where like the team fight's gonna take place, get the fuck off of cart. You should not be on cart. You are an Ana. You are frail. You are a frail little granny. You play from long range, and you do not continuously die because you're too far forward. Yeah. And you can say that, like, that's a communication thing. Like, if you're pushing it most of the time, and again, they're obviously going to be in the general area, right? You know, your team is, unless they're holding spawn, in which case it doesn't matter because they should be winning, right? But if they're like, if the fight is clearly about to happen on point and your team's there, just say, hey, someone take cart for me. That's it. That's all you got to say. And then someone's like, okay, I'll sit on cart now. Communication. Oh, I wanted to see this too, actually. I think we killed someone here, don't we? I thought we did. Yeah, we killed Junk! Okay, so this is another thing, right? You guys are playing Brawl, right? We've established this. Yeah. Speed! Okay, so you don't need everyone on cart right now. It's not pushing, it like the fucking thing just broke. You know, Flames is walking back finally. I know that Jay is a little weak, right? And maybe we're kind of concerned about that. In which case, like, Jay can just walk forward with shield, right? That's why you have it. And then, you know, you have like your Frog with you, your Ana's gonna be there soon, etc. Go! I'm not saying like throw yourselves at the enemy, because especially like it depends on who you kill too, right? Like if you'd killed, let's say, Mercy there and Junk was still alive, like you guys don't like, you don't want to like charge in right as Rhine and everyone throw their bodies into the Junk, you know, because like, yeah, it's fine, we're up one. But you do want to push, right? If you guys get an advantage in these fights, push. You don't have to get these kills. If you know, like Mercy flies away, like whatever, don't chase her into spawn and feed, but you guys should take the space that they're now giving you for free, right? You got that kill, you can take this space. You guys literally, like, I'm watching Jay spin on point right now, and the rest of you are just fucking sitting in here in this little mega room. Like, I understand that it's a scrim and it's not a game, but like, y'all should be practicing and taking this shit seriously, right? Like, you guys have to push up. You could already be at this corner right now, like taking space, and now they have to push you out of the spot, right? You got like so the Mercy and the BAP right here are perfectly, I mean, they're hiding, but like they haven't been pushed out of the spot. If you guys came up with speed and just one hammer swing, right? Like, yeah, you know, and whatever, like those are free kills. Yeah. It pisses me off. I wanted Jay to be here tonight because, I mean, I'm mad about a couple of things. I am. Like, you know, whatever. But like, you guys finally push when they have everyone. Like, they get the res off. They hid because they thought that you guys were gonna push, and the Mercy's like, oh, I can just res. And now they have all 5 people, and we're like, now we push, right? I understand that, like, we were waiting on flames there, so, you know, again, like, if you're hemorrhaging health, right, you know, maybe, again, you don't go balls to the wall all in, but you can still take a little space, you know? Take a little space, kind of pressure them a little, especially if we just walk forward with shield there, like, you know, our Kree and our Mei can, like, do the dirty work for our Rein and pressure those supports, right? Like, it doesn't always have to be the main tank, but the main tank has to help push. The Frog has to help push, you know? Like, you guys have to be in there and pushing. Like, now it's too late. Now they're using ults. Like, maybe we pop that Valk earlier, right? When we push them because she gets scared. Maybe she wastes that ult while they're still coming back, you know? Maybe we pressure them and they use Immort, and now they don't have Immort going into this fight, which could be really big for you guys. I'll let this one play out and then I'll say what I'm gonna say. Oh yeah, oh my god, I I had to watch this one back the first time. I'm not gonna talk about individual stuff too much. Unfortunately, the tire killed Rappy. I would say that Bear and Jay put themselves in stupid positions to try to get those kills. No. You know, like y'all just all you went all in into the junk, you know, and it's hard with the junk. Now, here's what I'm gonna say. I think it's important now. We end up swapping eventually, but around here is when I started thinking, I hate our comp. All right. This is about the point when I was watching this, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, they have so much damage, right? They have junk, BAP, and then like the pocketed whatever, like, you know, whether it's soldier or whoever. They have a lot of forward-facing damage, which is really good for this point, right? Like, it's literally just one way. There's not many flank routes. You just go. They have so much more shield break than us. McCree does an okay job breaking shield, right? Mei does an okay job breaking shield with her freeze. Like with her you know, freeze spray, whatever you want to fucking call it. I think that's her primary. You know, she does an okay job, but you have to kind of, you know, you have to be there. But like, Junk's just gonna do more, right? And then Ana obviously is just kind of, I mean, she just doesn't do as much like shield break, right, as BAP does. She just doesn't, yeah. You guys do, some of you do end up switching, I'll say, but I think it's too slow. Bear, I understand right now because you're close to ult, right? And I think that's valid. I think that you can afford to like play one more round as Mei, and if we're gonna do that, maybe we don't swap yet. After this point, like, we're gonna farm freeze, and then we're gonna freeze, and then see how it goes, and then we're gonna make swaps. This is what we should be talking about right now, because your comp just loses against their comp. Like, when you come over here, like, we'll come back this fight, and you can see like Jay's shield versus Dolphins. Like, we are just losing the shield war so often, and it really matters on a point like this. Okay, they used Immort for no fucking reason. Cool.
Big more.
Okay, so we used some cooldowns there, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Like, Jay's shield is already pretty fucking low, you know, trying to get in there, and that guy's shield's like full. We get the freeze off, right? We get it on Rein, yeah. Bear, I think, yeah, you walked forward and into it a little. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if you'd used wall yet. Oh, yeah, you just used it. I see it in the back. You know, that happens to the best of us. As a Mei player, you know, it happens. Yeah. Now, what I maybe would have done there is, Mei, if the Rein, like, feeds into you guys, and you obviously, like, you could have maybe thrown the freeze a little bit further back, right, if you wanted to try to get the squishies. But if you just want to fuck Rein there, that's perfectly fine. And then you just wall here, right? And then y'all just fuck Rein. You don't go by yourself. I think that's the only issue there. But I will say that the freeze made a lot of space, so that's nice. This is... Now we're still losing, right? We just lost 2 people. We're not gonna lose Jarl. Oh, they windowed. That's cool. We're definitely leaving now, right? Okay, this is the time where we need to make swaps. Bear knew this. Bear swapped to junk. All right, love that. I love that pick. That's a perfect pick. Great job. I don't have an issue with that. I think Jarl. Do you switch to Hanzo here? Or do you stay on McCree for a while? I can't remember. I think you stay on him for a while. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think. No. I was just asking if you did switch to Hanzo at some point. I think you do at some point. Yeah. And that's when I really start having an issue with our comp. Not because of you. Just because we don't adjust it when we adjust things. I don't think the Kree's a bad pick. I'll say, right? Like, I mean, again. Yeah, but you know, I think there could be better picks. It's not bad. It's not my main issue with the comp, because I think Kree can still do things. But I definitely, yeah, like you said, I think the Hanzo pick's a decent one. The only issue, of course, if you do go like Hanzo junk, is you know, you don't have like the consistent what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god, I can't think of it. Well, like, you know, like you can't confirm kills as easily, right? Because you're running 2 projectiles. That's the only thing that concerns me. So it's kind of like, you know, like whatever. If you're confident, you can secure kills with Hanzo, but Yep. 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 I totally get that. Uh-huh. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Yeah, so I just wanted to, I was waiting until you'd swap to Hanzo, but because it'll make a little bit more sense, I think, when I start talking about it. But I do agree that, yeah, clearly the soldier is an issue on high ground. I'm waiting for the right moment. I don't know who's listening to that shit, but I need you to mute yourself.
My bad.
Yes, thank you. Oh yeah, the tire from high. Oh. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. Soldier's a problem. This is kind of like when I want you guys to think critically, right? I said this one of the other scrims that we had recently, that if you need to take an extra 20 seconds in spawn during a scrim, do it. I don't care if you waste the time. If you guys are getting, you know, if you guys just aren't really like making progress and you don't really know what's going on, take that extra time, right? You know, start getting used to talking things through, whether it's talking about what ults you want to use or it's talking about who's the biggest issue right now. What are we really struggling with? Like, is junk just doing that much, or is it like the soldier, you know, pocketed on high ground, or like on Shambali, the Sombra was eating our ass, right? You know, like figuring out what exactly is going wrong, and then what can we do to change that? Sometimes that's a comp change, sometimes that's like a pathing change, right? Like if you guys are gonna stay on Brawl here, and I have issues with that, but if you are going to stay on Brawl here, I mean, it's kind of scary, right, against the junk, but I would try to like maybe go left. I think that you can still do this. It's not necessarily when he has tire, but I think that you guys could just go left, right, and just speed, and then go up and push the soldier off of high ground, or you again play things that can get to him easily or like block him easily, right? If you're gonna stay Brawl, you have to take a path that gets to him and forces him off of high ground. Now, when you do that and you're concerned about junk, again, like you want to come this way and you shield, right? You shield and you make sure everyone's in. And then when you come over here and you're walking past these doors where they're probably spamming, you shield and you make sure that your squishies are in. I'm reiterating it because it's important. So if you're going to play Brawl, yeah, if you're gonna play Brawl, it's important for everyone. If you're gonna play Brawl, you have to move together as a unit. You have to have a plan, and you have to go fast. You can't lag main. You can't get stuck in a choke. You know, you can't like pussyfoot around. You need to have a plan. You need to have a target in mind, and you take the path that best gets you to that target. Right now, the soldier's a problem, like Jarl's talking about. So if you're gonna stay Brawl, I think you do something like that, and you just try to push him. Is this when Jarl switches to Hanzo? No. Yes. Okay. Alright, let's talk about this. So, now we've swapped to Hanzo, Junk. Oh, I have stick drift, ignore that. Hanzo, Junk, and Bap, right? I mean, Bap's fine in Brawl, right? You know, like, I'm not saying that, you know, like, that doesn't go with Brawl, but at this point in time, right, your DPS have changed to more of, like, a poke sort of, you know, comp, right? Like, your DPS have changed to adapt, right? We're going more poke heavy. Bap's great with poke. So we have three heroes right now, 3 people that are playing more of like, that realize we need to play more pokey, and then we have our Rein and our Frog who have not swapped. So now you guys are running like this pseudo like hybrid Brawl, right? But it's not really a Brawl, and we'll see that we're not really actively speeding into anyone, right? And Rappy, I'm not just like getting on you here, it's a team thing, right? Like, especially for those of you that are still on Brawl heroes, the Rein and the Frog, but in general, like when you play Brawl, like if you guys aren't actively either speeding onto targets or using speed to like, you know, to rotate and get yourself out of situations, get the fuck off Brawl, period. You'll see this fight, we're not going anywhere. We just kind of stand and stall out, and our comp just doesn't make sense. So I know that, I know Bear, whenever we talked about, or you gave me like the hero pool list, right? I know that not everyone is going to be like comfortable playing literally everything, but here's what I'm going to say. Sig is a much better pick here at this point in time with what they have, with what you guys have. I think Sig is necessary. I mean, maybe a couple of other tanks could work, but what I'll say, and this is really important on, we'll see it on your defense too, and I will reiterate this again. I think that at this point, with what you guys are running, playing Rein is a throw. It's even more of a throw on defense, and it's going to really hurt all of you to see it. But right now I'm bringing it up. I don't know why we're forcing the Rein. I know you mentioned, Bear, that you said really that Jay only plays Rein, but I have seen him, like, I see him play a little D.Va here at some point, see him play a little ball. I don't know what Jay is, like, actually fully comfortable with, but what I'll say for that, and I'm not the captain, and I'm not doing lineups, is either your tank line needs to learn to be a little bit more flexible or not play tank. I've had Rein one tricks on my teams before. Everyone knows Cross. I've had them on my team before whenever I ran lineups, and I only put Cross on control maps and maps like King's Row that Rein was good. I think putting an only Rein player, I didn't say anything when I first saw your lineups, right, for that night, because again, it's not my job. You guys got this. I didn't say anything, but when I saw that Jay was on Eichenwald, knowing what I know, I knew you were going to lose Eichenwald. And I really don't mean that in a toxic way at all. And I know that you guys are practicing in a scrim, but if you do this shit in a game, you're going to lose. Because, like, I mean, on this point, like, I mean, I know you have Kipper. Kipper plays Sig and D.Va, right? I think that Sig is just better for a lot of these points. You know, D.Va can get to high ground. It's nice to have the Rein sometimes, but like whenever you guys are playing against these comps, like what the fuck is Rein doing? We're not speeding onto anyone, right? He's only really dealing with Rein right now, and on your defense, right, they have Doom, and then there's no one for him to hit. So here for me is the beginning of a really big problem with your comp. Rappy and Jay just need to swap. Like, if you guys swap to Sig here, and again, Rappy, I don't know exactly who you're fully comfortable with. I know that you play a lot of Lucio and Ana, right?
Yeah, if he would have swapped to Sig, I probably would have went like Zenyatta or
yeah,
Mercury.
yeah. I think that I don't know. I think Zen would be pretty good, right? With the Zen Bap, I think that would have been solid. You have no one that can pressure you really, right? Besides, people occasionally like killing you from afar. You have no flankers on you. I think that the Sig and the Zen would be so solid, and you guys would take this with ease. I wish that y'all would notice these things. I hope that we, the more we talk about this stuff, you guys will notice these things. I hope that you guys will start noticing these things in the moment and swap sooner, right? I think that the swaps we made were a little too slow. I understand why they were kind of slow because, we had ults and stuff. Jarl, like you said, you probably don't think the High Noon was worth it. I agree. It probably wasn't worth it. You didn't win the fight off of it, so maybe you swap sooner. Bear, I understand with the freeze, right, and everything. But I think maybe we swap those things sooner. We definitely needed to actually swap our comp as a whole, though, in general. Like, you see now, like, Jay's shield's just so low all the time, so you guys aren't going anywhere. Y'all are just sitting here for so long. So now we're waiting for it to recharge. Okay, at least we're doing that. Now we're walking. We got a kill. And see, right now, Rappy's a little low, and so Rappy's not speeding in when we need to push. Right now. This is our one moment to push. We need to be speeding. Let Flames heal you. They get the res off because we don't push. And now Bear's dead. And now we're just all dying. And I mean, I think this is great. We'll see this on second too. Like, watch their team. Like, you guys had a couple of people that were kind of like, like I assume that you guys had died. I think I can't really remember. So you just like respawned and were walking up. They saw that and came out and destroyed you, right? And they just bought an extra 10 seconds for their team. Really plus 10 seconds, or like 15 if you count walking time. Like, they just won that last fight for themselves, really. Now you guys have to like wait for them so you can speed them back. So you're not setting up, you're not getting that space, simply because they aggressed. And the reason why I bring that up is kind of like what we talked about, right, on first point. Oh, I loved that. First point going into second. Again, like, I want you guys to see opportunities like that, right, and then follow up on them. I love that the Junk was doing the sexy Junkrat thing. I did watch back your point of view, Jarl. I was like, did he have sonar there? Is that why he did it? Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, that Junk got absolutely destroyed. It was hilarious. So those are great opening picks, right? Ryan's behind us. We deal with him. That's fine. Yeah. And then we kind of make more mistakes here. Again, some individual things, like Jay decides to pin into their spawn the moment that the visor starts. So like none of y'all have shield.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. I mean, it happened about the same time, but I would just say, like, I don't know. I think the soldier needs to be taken care of before we go fuck them and spawn, right? Like, if I see, like, if we just killed, well, who'd we kill? Ryan, and obviously a couple of them are coming back. So if we kill like Ryan and whoever else is coming back from spawn, and I look here as anyone on your team, not just tank. If I look here and is anyone on your team, like, I'm thinking, oh, that soldier's gonna be a problem, right? Like, he's on high ground. I don't want him to do that. And again, that's when, especially with Brawl, when you A, don't have vertical mobility, right? And B, you're using the speed up there, go up there, push him off. If you don't want to send your Rhine and everyone up there, whatever. But like, you gotta send some people. I think eventually, I know I've seen Rappy try to do it a few times and distract him, which is nice. I really appreciate that you do pressure him, Rappy. I do. I see a couple of people shooting at him. Obviously, Flames tried to duel him. Flames, again, I'm not going to go too into individual stuff. I probably, would have played the corner a little bit well there, because, like, if you do that, he looks at you, right? And he's like, oh shit, there's a window. I have to laser him first. So then you kite for a second, because you're playing natural cover, like Strawberry told you to. And then you kite. And then he's like, oh, I can't shoot Bap anymore. I'm gonna go look at whoever else. And then you peek it again and you kill him. Yeah! Yeah. So, the thought was good. Somehow, by the grace of God, we get all 3 points.
Somehow.
Somehow.
I was so mad for y'all not trying to fucking pressure that soldier. I'm like, dude, just go up there. Someone go up there, please.
Yeah.
Hey, I was eating mid game.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's funny. Okay, let me go forward.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming.
I know I talked a lot on that one. On the offense. I do have some words for the defense. So let's go back to comps, right? I know that, you know what, let's talk about how you're playing this comp first. Let's do that. So my kind of issue with you guys and whoever's in, you can kind of walk me through maybe your thought process. Maybe you're scared here if you want to. But we kind of like, we have the Rein here, right? Which if it's so hard for me. Like, if you're gonna play Rein, I feel like you want to play him forward, right? A little. It's hard right here because, like, if you play him at the choke and, you know, your shield breaks, like, you obviously can't really back up this way. But you can, like, play this, right? And, like, swing on the corners and still shield your team. And then if they hurt you, you just, like, step to the side, right? You can also step to the side on the right. It just kind of depends where your team's walking. Again, you know, it's all about playing corners. We're playing a little bit back, whatever. But it does mean that we're letting them in kind of for free on the choke. And it's not just a Rein thing. We are shielding right now, so you guys should be using that shield and shooting, right? Now, it's easier, I think, if Rein is playing up a little bit, because, again, he's pressuring them here, right? Swing. They can't get forward for free. I know the Doom's, like, already behind you guys, but he's not currently in you, so I'm just gonna ignore that for the moment. But again, if your Rein's playing forward or wherever, and you guys should have kind of like more space here and then actually shoot, because right now, like, Jarl is trying to, like, again, stand main and actually pressure them, which is great. Thank you, Jarl. Bear is also kind of trying to pressure, right? Throwing some orbs that, or some balls that way, whatever they're called, grenades. Also great, although we start taking damage, so we're scared. Flames and Rappy. What are you doing, guys? Like, Flames has been up here on this high ground on the backside of point from the beginning until now that Bear's low. And Rappy, you're playing Zen, my man. You're sitting on cart. I need you here. Like, I need you, like, behind them. Like, you can even play here, really, if you want. I need you, like, I don't want you to play inside your Rein. Again, I don't love where your Rein is. I don't want you as squishy supports to play inside of your tank. I'm definitely not saying that. But on a map like this, if you're gonna play Zen, if you're gonna play BAP, if you're gonna play, like, the kind of poke comp, I know that we're playing Rein with that, whatever, you have to pressure them from the get-go. If they have no pressure coming through choke, they just come in for free, and that's exactly what they did. Okay, so
Damn it, Jay.
so the Doom comes in and feeds. Awesome. You guys jumped on him really fast. I love that. Why are we still hiding on point? Come closer. Yeah. Come closer. Oh, nice. Rappy got a great kill. Actually shot something. Awesome. Yeah, I know you guys are taking junk from, or, yeah, spam from the junk. Again, this is why the shield's important. As long as your shield's up, you guys should be kind of free to, you know, to do stuff. That's also why Rappy, I think, like maybe, and it depends on what they have, right? If they have a Pharah and she's shooting you, you know, in this little cubby or something, you might want to move. So I'm not saying always stand here, right? I really have to make sure when I tell you guys like to stand somewhere, I do not mean all the time in every situation. It depends on what they're running, right? But and with the Doom, of course, you know, you want to be kind of you know, a little conscientious of that. But if you're getting hit with spam and like this is a weird angle for you because you're having to like walk out this way and everything, then you can play back here and still spam, you know, as they're coming through choke and still lob things and whatever, and they can't really shoot you as easy. Depending on like where the fight's going, you know, you can always like sit, you know, or in the back, like if we backed up. If they don't have fast characters, I would not do this against Doom or D.Va, or if they have speed. But if they're playing like ignoring the Doom right now, right? Like the Hanzo and the Junk and all of that. So if they don't have Doom, I think that like, you know, coming around on like these little sight lines could be decent, right? Just kind of like occasionally peeking, you know, different sides and creating those angles. So you have options, so it's not so awkward for you to shoot. But we have to definitely put the pressure on, I think, a little bit more. So we're just kind of sitting on point as on default, and we're giving them like we're giving them all the space in the world to like make the best decisions, right? And I think from there we just lose. Okay, so now here's where I'm going to talk about the comp that we're running again, right? Because I think that we can see now how important it is. So I want you guys to look at everyone's ult charge, right? Everyone. Their team, our team, right? Someone's not doing damage, right? Someone's not doing something. Does anyone wanna guess who's struggling? Okay.
Reinhardt?
Yeah, the Reinhardt. And I'm not saying, oh, Jay's bad and that's why he's not doing anything. I am saying that Rein is a dog shit pick right now. Look at their comp. So I know that you guys started on Rein. You had no idea what their comp was going to be, right? That happens, of course. You know, like sometimes you pick wrong. You know, that happens. Now, when you fucking respawn, you swap, right? Because in my mind, and I don't play a lot of Rein, but I do know how Rein works. And in my mind, if I'm Rein, I'm thinking, I don't have a Lucio one. So I'm really not able to go anywhere fast, okay? Also, I'm looking at their comp, and who am I viably going to swing on in their comp? Their Ana's probably not going to be inside of me, so I'm not going to get her, even though she's the most vulnerable. Moira is going to fade away. Junk's, you know, going to play where Junks play, right? In places that you either don't want to go as Rein or above you. Hanzo plays from range, and I mean, like, Doom doesn't have to look at you. Doom can literally soar over your head, as we are seeing right now, and fuck your team, which is exactly what's about to happen. So notice again, we talked about attacking second. Obviously, both of their supports are on point right now. Whatever, it's not their VOD, I'm not going to tell their Moira that she's stupid and she shouldn't be there. But the rest of the team is pushing up, right? Junk's kind of taking space over there. Hanzo's like peeking, Jarl and the people on high ground, right? And keeping them busy. Doom has already taken the top of castle, right? This is the shit I want to see from you guys going into second. Like, they're already taking space. So they literally come over here. Yeah, we shoot Jarl, right? Hanzo gets a good shot on Jarl. Yeah. And then Doom comes in, Junk instantly comes in, and we start cleaning up. You notice how Jay, again, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shit on Jay, but you notice how Jay through all of this is just sitting underneath bridge like, what do I do? I wanna help. I wanna help my team, but I can't. I don't have verticality. Yeah, it's because you're on the wrong hero. Now we're just sitting on bridge like, what do we do? They've taken high ground and I don't know what to do. So, you know, we just gave it to them for free.
Jay, stop holding shield, please.
Yeah. I'll tell him.
Oh my god, this is pissing me off right now. Oh my god, this is pissing
It
me
pissed
off.
me off. Like this is me. This is also me like having yelled at my screen earlier, like, and I got like a lot of the screaming out, and this is like what's left. I was so angry earlier watching some of these VODs. It's like, what's happening? What are we doing? I watched Volley second, and I was like, oh guys. I was so beside myself about this one. Alright. We stopped the tire. Awesome job. Unfortunately, Bear dies. Let's see. Yeah, we get the kill on the Ana. I guess the Ana was still pushing card at that point. So again, kind of like what we talked about earlier, Flames, we get to see on their side why that's not a smart idea. But we're just kind of getting fucked in the back, right? Like, you guys physically can't keep up. It's like you don't have a tank, and I'm sorry to say that. And you know, but like he can't do anything against this comp. Doom just plays around him, and yeah, your backline's just kind of getting shit on. So it's unfortunate. Aw. Yeah, Hanzo's already pushed forward. I mean, they're just pushing you guys back a lot, right? They realize that they have the momentum, and they're just going for it. We do shatter the Doom there and get the kill on him, so at least we kind of get that that tempo back. Oh, I think Jay's swapping now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I know I've already screamed about it enough. I think that these comp swaps need to happen a lot sooner, right? You guys, and you know, it's not like if you guys are struggling, it's not always like an issue with the comp, right? Like I talked about earlier, sometimes it just means that, you know, your pathing's a little fucky, or maybe you're not using ults well enough, or, you know, I mean, sometimes they're just better. But I don't think this team is better, you know? Like, I think that you guys play fine, and I think that they do stupid shit too. So I think in this instance, your comp has been kind of shitty, but I mean, you guys are passive, you're letting them run over you, you're not taking space when you have the opportunity. Oh yeah, okay, so let's talk about that positioning a little bit, because I just want to mention it. So they've already pushed up a lot, right? They've already taken this space. Like, this junk is kind of sitting, you know, here at the corner, right? Like, this is a very scary place to play against, right, as junk, because, you know, literally, like if Bear, you know, you're standing right around here. If that junk comes around the corner and says, hi, you're dead, right? Same thing, like, Rappy, you're playing, like, about where the Doom is, right? Because you just died here and you got slept. I appreciate that you are trying to shoot, right, as in, and play those long sight lines. I think that if they already have the space, right? Like the Hanzo's already set up to kill you guys. You know, he's been playing around here, the junk's forward, etc. This is kind of the moment where you let them move car a little bit and you force them to play into you guys' sight lines, right? This is true when you're going against Widows too. You know, if a Widow takes high ground on like a really long sight line, rather than playing in that sight line, you want to go to the next corner and force her to move into your sight line, right? Because that's when she's going to be at her most vulnerable. So it's the similar thing here. Like, I think as Xin, you could probably play in this, like, this back little corner, right, if you wanted, and just like jiggle peek this. There are times, well, I think we'll talk about it a little bit later, because y'all keep getting picked by Hanzo. You can also play this left side of the point, right? I think that y'all need to collectively and as individuals think about your sight lines a little bit better. So this Hanzo is sitting most of these fights around here, right? You'll get there in a second, on the stairs. And you can see as I'm talking about it now, that like he can see the high ground, right? He can see your D.Va, which is where your Xin was playing previously. Like, you can see everyone kind of here. And then you can kind of see like that back little mini like I talked about. So it's still kind of a little scary to play there, but at least you have that corner, right, that you can peek, so you're not just standing out in the open. But playing around like this hard corner can be really nice, especially if you're playing a hero that like doesn't need to contribute, you know, to damage all that much. Right? Like if you have an Ana, right? I'm not saying don't do DPS things on it, because it is important to do damage, but if you are worried about like playing out of sight lines, right, for whatever reason, you can play like this left side, or you know, like whatever it is on certain maps, and the Hanzo has to, like, if the Hanzo wants to kill you, right, the Hanzo would then have to like push up and then into your team, you know, like here he can just look at you, right, he can just look at you and spam for days. Here he has to push into your team through the corner to like see where you are, right? So trying to find those angles on maps where you have to like force the team to push into you to get to your squishies is really important, and it's going to save you guys a lot of heartache in the future, and you know, you're not going to die as much, right? Yeah, it was good.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Pass into the unknown.
Alright, now we stall. It was a good stalling trans that bought us a lot of time. Now we're back on point. Yeah, same thing here. Like, you see how D.Va's on point right now, and then 3 of our squishies are also on point. You guys are sitting ducks. You're sitting ducks. All the Doom has to do is just jump on you fuckers, right? Because he hits everyone here, right, with his abilities if he jumps on you. Junk just has to lob shit in your general direction, and it'll probably either kill you outright or bounce off of a wall and then kill you, right? So you guys are all clumped. You're all on point. I hate that my squishies are on point right now. I understand that, like, if you have to touch for whatever reason, right, it happens. But right now, y'all don't have to touch. They're not there. D.Va should be the one contesting, if necessary at this point in time. You guys, like, should be setting up, right? Like, y'all right now is walking to high ground. You know, you guys got to find, like, whatever position works best for you and your hero, and get into that position now. And I'm telling you, unless, again, you're a tank, or you're like a chunky hero, right? Like if you're Brig, she has the shield, or like you're Mei, right? Mei can contest pretty well. You know, like, unless for whatever reason you need to be on point, or you have like the sustain to be on point, get off of point. Don't stand here. Take an angle. Put yourself in a smart position. Because the more that you're playing on your front line with your tank, the more damage you're going to take, right? Like, if you think about it in that regard, like, let's talk about Brawl again. Let's talk about Brawl v Brawl, right? Both Reins are clashing on each other, swinging like crazy, and let's say your Ana decides it's hard to shoot from afar, so I'm gonna sit inside my Rein so I can't miss his ass, right? I know, it's really relatable, right? I've seen Anas do that. So, you know, Ana decides, yeah, I'm going to play inside my Rein. Well, what happens when the enemy Rein swings on your Rein? He's also swinging on your Ana, right? Because she's standing there. Now, Ana has to use nade early to save herself because she's getting swung on, right? Now she has to use sleep, too, sleep and nade to save herself because she's getting pressured, rather than like kind of sitting off to the side or on a different angle where no one can touch her, and she can just, you know, she can just throw nades for days, right? Now you can like anti people and actually have value in the fight, right? So they're just forcing cooldowns out of you. They're killing you, right? All because you guys are just horribly out of position there. Rappy does move back a little bit, right? I see that. Again, you might get shot there occasionally, but I think this is much better than where you were, because, you know, again, like the Hanzo has to push into your sight line a little bit, right? And if you're, you know, thinking about it and you know that the Hanzo's playing there, you can like pre-charge the volley, right? Maybe catch him out when he pushes into your sight line. But most importantly, the Doom and the Junk have to actively use a lot more cooldowns to get to you, right? So again, maybe they do that, right? Maybe the shut up. Maybe the maybe maybe the Doom does come in and use all of his Doom cooldowns, right, to get to Rappy, or maybe the Junk uses, you know, 2 mines or something to get back there. But then they've used those cooldowns to get to you, and you're already providing more value. And I mean, like right now, you're just sitting in the back shooting, you know, for days. Whereas we see like Bear and Flames right there who had not moved still. And now you guys had to use like fade and your jump, and you know you had to get out of the way because you're getting cold. And I'm not saying that playing here is bad. I think depending on the hero that you're on, like again, if you're playing like Mei or a close range hero, I think that playing like this little corner right here, or like Brig even, could be perfectly viable. I'm not saying that you guys always have to sit super far back, right? It really matters on which hero you're playing. We can talk more about that if anyone's ever confused as far as like positioning goes, depending on like enemy comp and what you're playing. So I'm not saying don't ever play here, but you need to be playing around natural cover, and just like playing to your hero's strengths, right? Like not putting yourself in positions where you're going to get jumped on. Ha 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 ha. Like their Flames, just to say, right? Like we just see you die on point, right? I know that you're trying to help Jay right now. So if you're like, let's say playing here, right, on this little mini, you'll see it in a second. Like if you're playing here while Jay is contesting cart, since he is playing on this right side, you literally could just probably AFK stand here and just piss on him, and who's gonna touch you right now? Like the Ana could shoot you, maybe the Doom comes for you, but right now they're trying to focus your D.Va. And if they do that, you're a Moira and you can just, you know, fade away, right? And then you're forcing them to come after you. Whereas like when you're on point, right, they don't have to do anything extra. They just hit you. The Hanzo can't see you over here, right? The Junk's in spawn, so like no one can really touch you here, and you're just chilling. You're just healing this D.Va for free. Instead, you know, you die in the middle of the team. Yes, sir. I'm not trying to harp on it. I'm sorry. I just want you guys to see, you know, like how it's affecting each fight. All right, now we're in a mad dash to touch point. I really like though, Bear. I know that you just kind of jumped into them and stuff. And you know, maybe the execution's not always there. I know you didn't get the kill, but I like that you're trying to like get aggressive in this moment, right? Because you know people are on point and you're trying to make a play. I do appreciate that. It did make the Hanzo turn, right? You got him low and it made him turn away from your team, and then Rappy finished him off, right? Then you got that pick. So I like that you guys are trying to make something happen here. You'll actually, I think, swing this, which is pretty crazy. Oh yeah, Jay gets 3 here. Yeah, and again, notice how the Junk and the Ana died because they were standing on cart. Why was this Ana standing on cart? I don't know, but she's dead now. Oh, here it comes.
More reason not to stand on cart is Ana right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they would win that fight. They would absolutely win that if Ana, like, just doesn't die there, right? Okay, this is something I want to talk about too. You guys are playing like pussies again? So we're just like, I'm scared. They might push it in. We're all gonna sit on cart. This breaks my heart. Like, you can keep one person near it, right? Like, I understand you guys are worried. I know that they just switched to Sombra. They're looking for the back cap. You don't want to fuck it up. I understand, like, you know, I know that, like, we've all C9 before, you know, it keeps us up at night. You can't be this scared, though. You'll have to retake space. Every time you want to fight, you have to retake space. I'm not saying go spawn camp them, right? But you got to take corners, you got to take space, you know, wherever you want to play. And even if you are gonna like still play here, like maybe that works out for your team for whatever reason, you know, push up, whatever. But if you are gonna stay in this general area, again, retake high ground, right? Take those corners I'm talking about. Take different sides. Get yourself ready. But I think it's more important to move up and start spamming them. Because again, like right now, Hanzo hasn't really taken the sight line, their sniper. So you guys have the sight line. So he still has to push into you right here, right? And then you guys maybe kill him. I know that we all swapped to like, you know, super fast heroes, so we don't really have the range anymore. So, you know, whatever. But regardless, you should take space, pressure them, force them to use cooldowns to get through you to touch point, right? If you play here, the fight happens here. They don't have to use any cooldowns to get to you. So by the time they get here, they have their cooldowns and y'all are in a terrible position, right? Whereas if you play like a little forward, again, it depends on the map, it depends on what you have, but if you play a little forward, even if you don't stay there, right? Maybe you're just poking little and they come in and then you're like, oh, I'm scared, I'm gonna go back. Regardless, if you play forward, they have to use nade, right? They're gonna use nade and try to see if they get an anti. You know, their Doom's gonna like use some of his cooldowns to push you on the corner, and maybe you guys do get low, and then again you just speed back to the next corner, right? But now they've used a few cooldowns and they don't have them to engage on you guys again. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So again, right now. Yeah, we'll watch. I want to watch that one. This is exactly the moment I was thinking of when I was talking about the Hanzo earlier. Oh, I went too far. I hate that on console, you can't just like slide to exactly where you want to go. I have to like back up by 20 seconds every fucking time. So unfortunately we're watching this Hanzo a little longer than I want to, but it's whatever. Okay, so we're still on cart, right? Bear is pressuring from that angle. I think Jarl is currently trying to make it to high ground, it looks like, or just in that general back area. At least they are pushing up in some way. D.Va's sitting on cart, and then we have two supports on cart, right? Again, you only need one person on cart in this situation where it's really close, or at least by cart, but the rest of you should be taking space. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the Hanzo's just sitting here for free because you didn't pressure him. And again, we have a supports there, and then Rappy just gets headshot. And again, you know, it happens. Like, Hanzo's gonna hit shots occasionally, right? But, you know, you gotta put yourself in, like, positions where you're not always pressured by him, and you're not just a sitting duck. Like, he almost kills your Moira there, too, which would have been awful. Yeah. So you see how like Jarl right now, I'm gonna use Jarl as my guinea pig. You see how we can see Jarl through the walls right now, and he's playing again in that little side that I talked about earlier. Like, Jarl's still pressuring the Doom, right? Like, the Doom had to come in, and he's like, I gotta push cart. You know, this is my job, and I'm gonna pressure them, and D.Va's low, and Jarl's still over here, like, able to, I mean, right now there's a payload and stuff, but Jarl can still kind of shoot things, right? Like, whenever the Doom actually aggresses into your team, Jarl can still see them. Whenever the Moira comes closer, Jarl's gonna be able to see her, right? Like, and they're also having to play, like, this corner so they don't peek you guys. So the Hanzo, like, literally can't see him right now. If the Hanzo wanted to, like, push Jarl for whatever reason, you'd have to drop here and push here, at, like, about here, right, is where he can see him. Like, the Hanzo would really have to push up to finish that kill. So, you know, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Aw. Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely gonna work on... Yeah, we're definitely gonna work on tempo, for sure. I've noticed a ton of problems already. I wanted to start with comms because I think comms is the easiest way to get you guys to start playing more like a team. But we will absolutely practice a lot of these things that we're talking about, and I'll break them down more whenever we're going over them, right? In scrims and stuff. Like, I won't throw like everything we're talking about in one scrim, right? We'll do little baby steps, but
60 seconds remaining.
watch this. Like, here. We're on cart! We're still on cart! We've killed them! The Sombra's won! Bear chases her, right? Bear's half health right now and still chased her, right, to stagger that kill, right? Bear has some balls! Like, our ball is sitting here on cart, he's full health, and he's a ball! You know, like, if we're gonna put anyone on cart, right, like, fuck it, keep Mei on cart, right? Like, Mei is a wall, right? Like, no one's getting through her. But then, like, you know, Yeah, like your supports and your ball and your tracer, like you guys are playing a really mobile, active comp right now. I know you guys had to swap to touch, but like y'all got to push the Sombra, right? And then you come in like their BAP in their Doom are still in spawn. Go kill these people. If you kill them right now, yeah, like if you kill them right now, you just bought your team like 15 more seconds at least. Look at that. Ball shooting from a distance. Y'all are all on cart!
Oh my god, Jay.
It's not just Jay, everyone! Yeah, yeah. It's everyone. And again, you notice how they had 3 people there, and Somber was like barely a person at that point. She was so low. Like they had like 2.5 people there. You guys killed them, but because of that, they had all the time in the world to come back, and then they just took this corner again for free. You just keep giving it to them.
30 seconds remaining.
Meteor strike.
Okay, Doom dies to the mines somehow. Okay, also here, right? We just oh my heart. We just killed Doom. All right? This is your moment to push. That is such a yes, it is painful. It is. Like this is such a great moment to push. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? When you're playing Lucio, if you are going to play Frog, if you're going to play, you know, like comps that really rely on mobility and all of that, you have to actually use that mobility. You just do. You guys have to jump onto things. Killing Doom here is huge. They have 12. They have 12 seconds left on the clock to touch, right? Especially in OT. OT is when you guys can like get away with shit, right? Whenever the enemy has to touch an OT, that's the time for like a couple of y'all to flank. That's the time for you guys to get really aggressive. That's the time to solo ult people. I mean, I honestly, I'll say like if you solo ult someone and you secure that pick, I think it's almost always worth it. I will say that. But that is the time to like make them hurt and pressure them, right? You do not want them to be chilling, you know, like one hand on the controller, they're eating with the other, like, yeah, we have time. You want them to feel the pressure, right? Because they have to touch. They have to touch. So this is your opportunity, especially once you kill someone. I would say before that, right, you guys should be taking space, right? But before, or I'm sorry, but after, regardless, we've made this decision. After we kill Doom, this is when you guys are like, push, right? Bear's over here fighting the McCree. I hope Bear is like, McCree's half! McCree's half! And you guys are like, oh my god, go! We have to push! You know, and instead you guys are clearly thinking like, 12 seconds left. We have to protect Cart. You know, we have to make sure they don't touch. Well, you know what would make them not touch? If you killed them. Yeah. We finally push. You guys learned. You guys figured out. A little too late, but you did it. You know, you did kill them, and you actually won that map. Somehow, I'll say there was a lot going on with that one. But some interesting decisions for sure. So my main points. Comp, right? Comp stuff. That's a simple one, I think. You know, just picking the right comp for the map and against their comp. If you guys are just making even just creating a comp or playing a comp that just makes sense with each other, right? Like that could be like a good starting point. You guys can't play like half brawl, half poke. Obviously, sometimes you know you can have like you can play brawl and have like a Hanzo or something. You know, like it's okay if occasionally like one person, you know, like you have like a little bit of range. You know, like those are viable comps. You know, if you have like a little like range DPS with your brawl or something, that's fine. But you know, if you guys actually if you guys are playing Brawl, you gotta play Brawl. You know, like you guys have to pick comps that make sense and then actually play them how they should be played, right? Like when you think back to your first defense, right, on first point, you guys were playing Brawl like it was poke, you know, sitting there on point. At that point, like just play poke, you know, just play poke comp. So comp, you know, we got to be a little bit more mindful of that. Other than that, like just tempo, right? Oh, I definitely want to work, I think, soon on recognizing opportunities, right? Whether it's we got these picks so we can get aggressive, or you know, we know that their spawns are already kind of staggered, so let's like push really aggressive and keep the momentum up so like they don't have a chance on second. It's almost OT, and you know, we want to aggress on them and pressure them ahead of time so they're really, you know, panicked and pressured coming to point, you know, stuff like that. We will work on it, but that's basically it. Those couple of things. Any questions or thoughts or anything anyone wants to say? Yeah, I'm sorry I talked a ton. And I know I sounded mean at times, and I believe in you guys, and you know I will be hard on y'all, but I'm not trying to be mean about it. You know, like you just gotta practice this shit, and over time it'll get better. How do I stop the broadcast?